Hello, my name is Catherine Hamilton, and this is part 3 of the fictionalized biography of my grandparents, Margie and Russ Sr., also known as Hammy. It is called The Conception of Their Marriage. It is especially about Margie, who I grew up calling Nanny, and her experience in finding out she was pregnant with my Aunt Judith in 1935 and not yet married to my grandfather. I have tried to imagine all the trials and tribulations she went through as an unmarried woman in the early 1930s. This was when courtships were long because of the Great Depression, and her mental anguish at being in wedlock, as well as the joy when she and my grandfather agreed to tie the knot. This story is told in 3 parts, and it would not have been possible without Kelly Dumar and her class putting our grandmothers on the page at T-Land. Now, let's join Margie for the final part of this story, a second entry in her diary where she describes how she and Russ are finally united, and we hear about their proposal at the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial in New York. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the story. Diary Entry 2. Dear Diary, so much has happened. I hung around the phone outside for a few hours after sending the letter to Hammy by messenger. Just as I was about to give up hope and go inside at about 4 o'clock, it rang. It had his ring. I picked up. I heard his familiar tones ask, "Hello? Is this Margie?" "Hammy, I love you. I'm scared. I'm just falling apart," I cried to him. "Now you just stop that, Miss Margie. I want you to go get dressed in your Sunday best and take your carton of Marlboro mild as maize too, and get ready to take a little walk with me to calm you down." "Take a walk?" "You can do that, can't you? I mean, the doctor didn't say anything was wrong," he asked. His concern for me was obvious in his tone. "What? No, he said I was very healthy." "The baby, too," I replied. Hammy's questions were throwing me off guard, so off guard I hadn't had time to think, but it felt so good to talk to Russ I didn't care, and he didn't seem keen on leaving me. "I'll see you soon. You're my best girl," he spoke. "Wait for me." "Okay, Russ," I whispered and hung up the phone. I felt a blush from my face all the way down to my tits when he called me that, and I felt hot enough already. Everything I owned still fit, though I noticed I was just a little bloated, and the doctor had told me it was a normal symptom, along with all the other strange sensations I was feeling, and even given me a helpful book called Mother-to-Be, Symptoms, that described pregnancy like a disease. I had taken 5 minutes to call my mama, Letty. At a time I knew my father was always on his constitutional walk while I waited for Russ to tell her. I was afraid she would be so mad at me because I wasn't married to Hammy yet, but she was over the moon for me. She felt pregnancy was a blessing from God, each symptom the sign of a healthy baby. I liked her outlook better than the books, even if it did have so much more information. I refused to look at pregnancy as a disease in the old-fashioned sense. I am a modern woman. I dressed and did my hair. I even blackened matches to line my eyes daringly, and rosed my cheeks with my mortar and pestle and a flower, and put on some lipstick. I only had one pack of Marlboro Mild as May left. They had tasted terrible, but boy had I been nervous. And Hammy had asked for the carton, so I grabbed the empty one and waited for him. On a whim, I took down my Marlboro Mild as May pin-up ad. It decorated the wall with my small vanity and wash table and basin. The room was so compact, she brightened it up, and she looked so sophisticated, reminding me how chic I felt relaxing with a cig. Her brown hair and eyes done elegantly, the way I had tried to do mine right now. Hammy never liked that I smoked. He thought it was an ugly vice for a woman. I was reminded of this as I saw my pack waiting for him. I folded up my poster and put it in a drawer, not knowing if I would keep it or throw it out, but knowing that with a baby coming, I wouldn't look at the chic midline much longer anyway. It wasn't just Hammy, to be honest. The doctor had questioned my smoking while I was pregnant, too. He had said there was no hard evidence, but he had questions. So goodbye, Marlboro May, Marge. Although over everything else, it was the fact that they tasted so disgusting now. So goodbye, cigarettes, goodbye, and hello, Mommy, I hoped. My nerves were so frayed they ached, and I shook with tension. I even sniffled back a few tears as I paced my room and waited and then made myself sit. It was hell waiting for Russ. I wrung my hands, almost counting the seconds until I would hear shave and a haircut, 2 bits, knocked on my door. It seemed forever until there was the knock, and then I rushed to open it, and there was Russ. I couldn't help it. I sobbed just once because I knew he wanted me to be strong, but I fell into his arms, narrowly missing a bouquet. "Oh!" he gulped and wrapped both arms around me, holding me tight. He said, "Hush now, Margie. Everything is okay." Russ wore his best dark black suit with the red tie he knew I liked so much, and his hair was slicked back with a part like a canyon in it. Sexy. A bouquet of 12 red roses laid against my back, the flowers tickling my neck. Finally, I let him go and reached for the flowers. Hammy has never given me flowers that he hasn't gotten free or picked. These were store-bought. "How beautiful," I said, and put them in a vase. "Ready for that walk, Margie?" he asked. I nodded, and it was a damn walk. We held hands all the way to goddamn 89th Street in the Upper West Side. Suddenly, though, there was this beautiful place. I see gorgeous marble buildings, and my breath is taken away. A sign proclaims Riverside Park, and closer to what I realize is a monument as we approach the gleaming white stone. It reads, Soldiers and Sailors Memorial. Hammy leads me around, showing me and talking about it like he's a tour guide. Of course, he knows all about this place. He tells me how it commemorates the Union Army soldiers and sailors who served in the American Civil War. It was designed by the firm of Stoughton and Stoughton and Paul E. M. Du Bois. Ground was broken for the monument on September 21st, 1900, and it was completed May 26, 1902. He even pointed out to me the battle names like Gettysburg, Vicksburg, Shiloh, and so many others inscribed on the heavy columns supporting the building. Inside, it was beautiful. We stepped through 2 widely open bronze doors and inside the tower-looking structure. There were 2 strange spaces with high vaulted domed ceilings adorned with green mosaic palm fronds and a mosaic of stars on the floor. We were in a rotunda riveted with white marble with 6 strange, large, empty niches on the lower level. The pilasters, which Hammy explained, were the faux pillars that were built into the wall of the building, and they were tall Corinthian on the upper level. Russ began to explain about how the doors had been smelted. I laughed and said, "Maybe our baby will be an encyclopedia like you." "Ah, yes, thank you for bringing us back to the matter at hand. Well, you once said you would give up your Marlboro Mild as maize if I asked you to marry me. Is that still a commitment you are willing to make?" he asked. I just smiled and handed over the empty carton with one pack in it. I hadn't had a cigarette in a day and a half, but Russ didn't need to know. He looked at the carton for a moment, his dark blue eyes full of emotion. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a jewelry box, opening it with a flourish with his thumb. "Let me give you something better to put in those lovely fingers." He wasn't stingy on the ring. It was beautiful, and I loved it. He knelt, and I realized the central structure of the monument was right behind us, framing me like a picture as a backdrop to the monument as the sun had just started to set. "Oh, Hammy, how will we get back home before dark?" I asked, suddenly scared. "Not to worry, Margie. We will take a cab." "I'm sorry," I said. "It's the pregnancy. The doctor said it can make me moody and anxious." Russ playfully put his mouth to my womb and spoke. "Ah, hello, baby. Come in, baby. This is your father. Can you hear me? You are not to worry about a thing. Over." I couldn't believe it. He was already playing with the baby, talking to it. "I think it's a girl, Hammy, and I'm really stuck on Judith as our name." "I see. Well, Miss Judith, you are to stay calm until further notice," he said, tapping my belly. Life was so amazing. I was in love with the man of my dreams and having his very much wanted baby. I didn't think anything could feel better until Hammy stood up slowly and looked down at me. I looked up at him, and the whole universe, and especially the little girl, my Judith in my tummy, seemed to be shouting silently at us, "Kiss." I looked into his eyes and saw such love there. Some people think Hammy is cheap because of the lengths he will go to save a few cents, but it's only to have it for when it's needed, or to splurge, and he had splurged on me. He looked at me and said, "I guess we better get married, Margie." I laughed and laughed. He looked at me and said, "What's so funny?" I smiled at him lovingly. "I'm sorry. It's been such a build-up for me, not knowing whether I was pregnant, and then being so tense, and then, well, you propose like that. It's just funny, Hammy." He grinned his most sexy grin and raised an eyebrow. "Funny? Well, I think I can do better than that." I made bedroom eyes at him and lowered my voice, teasing him. "Oh, yeah? Let's hear it, lover." Suddenly the air went quiet, and I swear Cupid's arrow hit first Russ and then me, because when he spoke it was with real passion and love, and it touched my heart as the words poured out of him. "Well, Marjorie Tooker Schmidt, how about it? Will you be my best girl forever?" Hammy asked me, looking into my eyes, holding them captive with his dark blue killer peepers. "I will, Hammy. Oh, I will, yes," I said, and leaned up and forward to kiss him as he was smiling at me. And we held each other in front of the memorial, kissing deeply. He had one hand on the small of my back and one on my womb. It was the most wonderful moment of my life. Time seemed to stop, and I swear I could feel the rhythm of creation flowing through me and around me. I should say us, for the baby was a part of it, and so was Hammy. It was a deep gestalt. The two of us, or three, were really one, as time stood still. After the kiss, Hammy walked me to the corner of the street, one hand around my shoulders, one hand on my belly, as he hummed Cheek to Cheek from a movie we had recently seen, top hat. He hailed a new checker cab. I love them, so clean. And we rode back to my place, making plans for the future and our child. When we got here, Russ looked unsure if he should stay or not, but I pulled him up 3 flights of stairs to my room, and the 2 of us made love. We didn't need to use anything for once, and there was no apprehension. It was wonderful. And for the first time, I was able to explain about my breasts being too sensitive to touch. A shame, like the Mona Lisa being off display. That is what he said, and we laughed. Now he is sleeping. I have been watching him, but I can't sleep. I have too many daydreams of my Judith and my marriage to Hammy to rest yet, but I will lie down and rest my body for the baby. Marjorie Tooker Hamilton. Marjorie Schmidt Hamilton. I love it. Thank you so much for watching me read The Conception of Their Marriage. I hope you've enjoyed this story. Thank you.